Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bald and Bonkers Show. Join your hosts Christopher Mole and Dakota Franson as they take you on a wild ride through the world of the supernatural, with a humorous twist that'll have you laughing and shaking in your boots at the same time. From ghosts to aliens to cryptids, no topic is off limits on this show. And the best part? You don't have to be a believer to join in on the fun. So grab a drink, kick back, and tune in every weekend for new episodes. And if you want even more of the Bald and Bonkers experience, be sure to subscribe to our Patreon page for exclusive content you won't find anywhere else. Let's get weird. Oh, and for the whiners out there, viewer discretion is advised. There you go, you entitled pricks.
I see someone else likes the entitled pricks line.
I was okay.
I think
Chris,
it's brilliant.
hello.
I think it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I think it's brilliant because we do have our trolls out there. We do have people that don't like us because we talk about the truth and stuff like that. And I just love it. I can imagine the trolls sitting watching this right now, and then that trailer starts, you entitled pricks. There you go.
Yeah, it definitely has gotten some attention, and notice that we don't get a lot of people trying to stir crap up ever since we running it. So somehow it's working.
No.
Yeah. So, hey, who knows? But tonight, ladies
So,
and gentlemen,
Bret, it's very, very nice to meet you.
Yes.
Very nice to meet both of you too. This is going to be a fun episode. This is going to be a fun conversation, I think.
So, Dakota, are you breaking up? Dakota, would you like to do this? Because I'm breaking up a bit for some weird reason.
I was about to say we're kind of talking over each other a bit
Started.
with how bad it's going. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris has been smoking way too much CBD product. He thinks that he has someone. He thinks he has someone tapping into this very conversation right now.
I don't smoke.
The number of times I've seen this man's eyes dilated.
I've not had any CBD products for about 4 months. Honestly, I haven't had any CBD products for about 4 months now, but I actually had to stop doing it. I don't vape anymore because I find that vaping's actually dangerous for you. Because I've seen a lot of reports out there of vaping. So, Bret, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. I mean, professionally speaking, I am a JavaScript developer. I taught myself how to program. Long story cut short, I got a good job as a developer, and I've been working there ever since. I love programming and technology, but in a larger sense, I'm interested in subjects like AI, cyberspace, transhumanism, the relationship between the average person and high technology, magic, divination, all sorts of different subjects like that. And shamanism as well, techno-shamanism, techno-paganism, those kinds of topics I feel are just one big ball of wax that I like to work with on a regular basis. So it's pretty cool. I think it's a lot of fun.
That is interesting. When I went to read your emails,
That's really, I've never heard of that. I've
all
heard
right,
of
let's
like
get this
paganism,
up here.
and I've heard of like paganism, and I've heard the paganism, and I've heard the like other stuff that you mentioned there, but I've never heard of techno paganism. What's that? Can you explain that a bit more?
Sure. Yes. Techno-paganism, just simply put, is taking the traditions of paganism, the modalities of the pagan mindset, and bringing them onto or into the high-tech world. It's just paganism with technology. And that can be anything from using software for bibliomancy, or social media to feed egregors, or a book of shadows on your computer. Using technology with paganism is actually a lot easier and a lot more, I think, effective than not. That's my opinion. But
it's like, well, considering the integration that technology has, especially these days, where you can even get toilets that you can post from Twitter, that explains most of the content these days. it certainly does make sense that technology and internet integration would have some sort of effect on the global mentality and the other mechanics behind Magic.
Yes. I think the core message, if I was to say anything today, the core message is that there is a resurgence of interest in technomancy, technology and paganism, technology and shamanism. It's sort of a revitalization of that trend that occurred back in the 90s when it really all started. Technopaganism kind of got its roots in the early 90s. And in 2023, just in fact, especially during the pandemic, but post-pandemic in the world we live in today, it is coming back into swing, and I'm noticing a lot of conversation about it. I run a small meetup group about technomancy and my own efforts to create that, to feed that momentum, because I want to see it spread. I want to see technopaganism become a thing again, because it is the future, and it's a mix of ancient and the future, and the ancient and today's technology, which is the future, and that is extremely potent. There's a lot you can do there.
But doubt about it. But no, we got to talking a little bit earlier about artificial intelligence and just how much it's starting to integrate, say, like with social media, when it comes to advertising, where they say you don't even have to say anything about it. You can just be randomly thinking, oh, we're running low on cat litter. Next thing you know, there's a thing of cat litter all of a sudden popping up on your Facebook. Would you say that AI would play a part of it?
Yes, absolutely. It's probably the most important element besides your data is the artificial intelligence. Your data is what basically causes the action to happen in the first place, but the artificial intelligence is the hand that guides the data back to you, or the advertisement to you. It not only hands it to you, but creates the language and the imagery and the product that's being sold, or the service that's being promoted, for sure. And we're also talking about the future of that, and how it's going to become more sophisticated and more personalized, and even more intimate is the word to use. More personal and intimate. I'm not saying one way or another if that's good or bad. I'm just saying that that's definitely where a lot of people in advertising technology want to take the subject. Is just the more. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. What is that with Tom Cruise? Minority Report, where they could scan your eyes, and there's this scene where he enters a store with another person's eyes in his head, and it talks to him. The computer talks to him like he was the other gentleman. But the point is that they identified him. They tried to sell him based on another person's identity. That's the kind of stuff, not the other eyes in your head, but the scanning of your identity, or the knowing of who you are and what you're needing. Yes, that is very real.
It's kind of spooky when you really think about it, just how much has to be seen about us in the first place, and for this to make this possible.
Mm-hmm. A tremendous amount of data.
Christopher,
it's really scary. It really is scary the way technology is changing. Because I'm nearly 42, and I'm an 80s kid, and I can remember when computers first really kind of came out. Well, in the 80s, and they were huge, and the wee screen, and you couldn't really do that much with them. I mean, you could play maybe pong or whatever it was called. You could maybe do that, but when the game consoles started to come out, that's when it all started to change. The game consoles started to get better and better and better. And look at it now. I mean, the technology now is unbelievable. About 30 years ago, it's scary to think. I was actually thinking the other night there. I'm 42. What's it going to be like when I'm 70 if I'm still here? I mean, what's the technology going to be like? And I'm kind of worried with the artificial intelligence aspect. Yeah, because I don't want that taking over everybody's life, because it's going to come. Self-driving cars, self-driving aircraft, self-driving trucks. Where do you see AI playing a part in, like, maybe self-driving vehicles in the future?
That's a really critical question because there's a lot at stake with that question. Jobs, jobs. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing that is at risk with losing the ability to put humans behind steering wheels. For instance, Uber Eats, their long-term game plan is AI-driven cars. They're using our data that we give them right now to build a business model to create a fleet of driverless cars for deliveries and transporting people. So this stuff is really in the works. And where do I see artificial intelligence playing in driverless cars? That depends on regulations, and that depends on the population's sentiment. Because if the population doesn't want to embrace AI, it will likely manifest in different ways. But artificial intelligence will probably be, with self-driving cars, 5 to 10 years before it's introduced to the public. That's my guess. But as I understand it right now, it is not very sophisticated and it is not very widely used, like autonomously driving vehicles like cars in urban settings are not widely used. I've seen them in San Francisco. I know they're used in parts of Arizona and Texas, but they're not widely used in, as I'm aware of them, in our world today because of the dynamic nature that is the urban landscape or the street. It's very difficult to create this technology, as I've been told, and it's not sophisticated enough to launch publicly. At least that's my understanding.
I mean, I see what you're saying there because of self-driving cars and stuff like that. But there is an aspect that I'm kind of worried about, right? I don't know. I just heard like a weird noise there. Did you hear that, Dakota? There's an aspect I would like to look at. Like, obviously a lot of people are up in arms against like people spying on you, like people like street cameras. And I was actually talking to someone the other day, no mention their name, and they were talking about how it's AI will lead in the future to basically look for criminals and stuff, how it works in computers. You know how you've got cameras everywhere, like a police state kind of system, but it'll be AI that controls that. What's your opinion on that? Like security-wise and obviously getting into people's lives like they shouldn't.
Yes, that apparatus, that sort of network of networks, as I understand it, that is something that already exists, but it is a private-public partnership at this point. A lot of the technology is in private industry, and the public security services like the police and the fire department and the ambulances, they pay the private industries for access to this technology, for both data collection, data analysis, and people identification, trend analysis. But my point is that there will likely be a fusion of those two sides of that coin in the near future to be one side of the same coin, just the same exact thing, where the private industry provides these services to the public, protective services with no barriers between. And that is what it might become. And I'm not saying that's what it is already or what it will become, but if it does become that, that's when you'll see something like what you're talking about exist very out in the open. But maybe not out in the open. Maybe it'll be invisible. Maybe it'll be the glass cage that we all live within that surrounds us that we can't see, that controls everything that we do. I'm not certain, but with AI and security, you got to be careful. You know your facts on that subject. That's all I'll say. You got to know your facts because you can get very speculative very quickly.
Yeah.
And that is honestly something that Chris has a bad habit of. You know, we get talking about all the litigation that's needed. I mean, when you really think about, put things into perspective, a lot of the issue we have just with typical technology today is that the wrong people are realizing the potential way too fast, and
that's for sure.
You have to start to wonder if they need age limits in government bodies just because it's a completely different world as it was just pre-pandemic. You know, we already can't have legislatures actually be knowledgeable of these things. You know, we were talking about self-driving cars. But a lot of the reason that you probably don't see them nowadays as widely used as they want them is the fact that these cars are running people over, and they're not exactly sure who to put the blame on in those instances. Or at least that's been my observation of it.
That is something I have seen as well, and a corollary to that is copyright law, where the United. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I think Chris was going to say something.
I think there might be a delay on
okay. It's just so your cameras keep turning off for me.
Huh.
There's about a 30-second delay in my end, and I don't understand why it's doing it because I'm running nearly 500 megs per second.
Wow.
So there's something going on.
Some middleman or middle interference.
It's very, very strange. I've just run an internet speed and it's fine, which is strange.
Unplug the Xbox,
I'm
unplug
getting
the Alexa.
I can hear chatter. I can hear like everything's unplugged. Everything's unplugged. There's nobody in the house using anything, and it's fiber cable. It's fiber optic, and it's absolutely fine, which is strange. And I've noticed this when I do like my paranormal show on my other channel, I don't have this problem. Unless the other night there was 4 people. It was a week ago. I had some of the weirdness, but this is your cameras just keep turning off on me. I can't really see you right now. I can't see you. It keeps going off and on and off and on. Your cameras.
Wow.
So I think there's something going on. I really do. Yeah. There you go. It's the AI. It's became aware. It knows we're talking about them.
It could be that. It's not necessarily that it is that. It could be that. I would say that what you're experiencing right now is something that I've experienced in another sense, and I would suggest being open as to why it is happening, because it may not be what you expect. It's not to say that it's not happening. I would definitely say if you're experiencing it, it is happening. But maybe it has something to do with something that you might not expect, because that's what I've discovered with malperforming technology, is that it has more to do with me than it does my environment. My relationship to the technology impacts the performance of that technology. It's just be open to different sorts of.
Yeah.
What are you looking up, Christopher?
Honestly, I'm actually. It's really. I don't know what's going on. It's one of the things. It's like, it's weird, and I've actually been trying to fix this for a week. I actually tried, and actually, what I did was I thought, right, it's maybe no my internet. It's maybe something in my internet. Maybe it's my internet that's wrong. So I connected to my 5G, right? And my 5G runs at nearly, everybody knows, nearly about 600-700 megs per second. Everybody knows that. And it was still doing it. And I thought, right, maybe it's the laptop. So I've got another laptop there. So I changed the laptop and it's still doing it. So there you go.
Well, about 2 weeks ago, I was trying to reach out to Bob Lazar, so maybe there's a connection, maybe not.
It's not
your fault.
Is it?
It's your. See, I've just connected to my 5G right now, and I'm running 675 megs per second.
Bob Lazar.
Yeah, talked about Area 51.
Don't Google him.
Don't Google him. You're going to be targeted next. Sniper's fixed on his position.
He was on Joe Rogan. That's interesting. I didn't know that. He's a former intelligence secretary. Oh, no, he's not. Anyways, I see who you're talking about, though. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Stranger things have happened.
It's ever since that.
Yeah, sure. Blame it on me.
To be honest with you, I think I know what it is, because No, to be honest with you, I think I do know what it is because I'm not the only one that's experiencing problems like this. I've got friends that live near me that do their own channels, and they're all experiencing weird problems with StreamYards. It's StreamYards lately has been no working right at all. If I go live for YouTube on just YouTube, it's fine. What? What?
He's dyslexic. He's not going to get it.
I'm not going to say anything if you're not going to say anything. This is your show, man.
What's it? Scotland.
Now he's paranoid.
What is it?
Nothing,
What is it
Chris.
like? I don't see what you're talking about.
Maybe the delay made it to where he didn't see it.
Honestly, I don't know what's going on with the internet. It's weird.
All I got to say is watch the replay, Chris. You may find out what I did.
It's nothing detrimental. It's just he's having fun.
It's your cameras. I can't see you guys. By the way, I just want to put that out there. I can't see you. I can just hear you.
That's interesting. So you see like
I can't
black
see
screen?
whatsoever. I've just got these screens that are going to do like that in circles.
Huh.
Yeah. I'm going to back out and I'll come back in 5 minutes. I want to try something. Right? Just keep the interview going to go.
All right. That's fine.
Well, I don't know what to say about that.
It does happen. You know, it's not the end of the world, but it does happen.
Also thinking that just knowing how Chris is, he may not be shutting down his computer all the way like you think he is, and everything's getting all bunged up because of that.
Interesting. Does he?
I don't know.
Yeah, he can only guess.
He's all the way in Scotland. I'm here in the U.S., so it's not like I can just hop on a jet anytime to go fix his computer problems.
No,
I need Elon Musk. I need Elon Musk to finance that trip.
It would be simpler to mail him a new computer.
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah, but I think that what this is kind of hinting at is that technology is not perfect. Technology is, I think what we're experiencing right now is that technology is not seamless. It's not 100%. And that is where AI regulation is important. That we were talking about that beforehand, where getting the government having the government or some sort of body of authority determine what kind of behavior is acceptable with AI is a very controversial but very important thing to happen. There are a lot of people who want to regulate AI right now and very strongly. But there are also people who want to say that the printing press wasn't censored by the Catholic Church, so why should we stop AI development? Why should we listen to you if you're going to tell us how to develop our technologies? Because it's that important. It's a very interesting dialogue right now.
So, Curiosity, can you hear me better now?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly, I went in my Norton thing saying that there's something going on. So I don't know what that is. I'll need to check that in a wee while. So it's quite strange. So
Part of me still thinks operator error.
I honestly, I can't do any more. I've actually got an interesting question. Where do you see the future of robotics with AI?
That is a very good question, because if robotics matures, if we get functional robotics, if we actually get machines that can be as dexterous as humans, AI inside that machine is super warrior. It's you can't stop those machines. They're going to be able to jump off buildings and survive. They're going to be able to wield weapons and analyze situations perfectly with their sensors and their machinery. And AI will be able to make that just superhuman, if that makes sense. But that's only if the machines become that developed. Right, because right now they're not. They're trying to make the machines that well developed, but they're not there yet. They're just not there yet that I'm aware of. It's if they become available to like police departments and militaries and private buyers, then you'll have armies of robots that could do things that no human could ever do without the assistance of technology to begin with, like jump 150 feet into the air, or run 75 miles an hour, or swim and fly. Those kinds of things will if robotics becomes if robotics matures like a lot of people think and are trying to make it happen, it'll be a different world. We'll have a totally different world to deal with.
Yeah,
it will not be a human world anymore. It will be a human and robot world.
No doubt about that.
See, it's going to happen. It is going to happen. I mean, I can if you watch like old TV programs for like the early 80s and early 90s. Oh yes, and some of their mad inventions that they had then obviously never came true. But look at how the mobile phone has progressed. It started off as this big brick with a ginormous aerial. I know someone that had one of them. And look at it now. It's like it's got more computing power than, well, anything really. The computer that's in a mobile phone now is amazing. It's got cameras, video, 4K, TV screens. It is going to happen. I mean, either's DARPA. They make the robots. Everybody's seen the robots jumping about, doing their things. But then you've got Mr. Elon Musk coming out. We're saying that he's bringing out like his own version of robots. But I'm afraid that obviously like, this is what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that AI becoming aware, right? But let's face it, it has in the past. It's had in the past where the two computers started talking to each other, and they had to unplug them, right? So what happens if it becomes unaware, and then aware, sorry, and then it decides that we're the ants and it's God?
That is a distinct possibility. That is an absolutely distinct possibility. Not only are there people that want to worship technology already as gods, but there are people that want to make AI as powerful as possible so that it will be able to see us as a body, as a collective, instead of just be one of the humans. It'll be something above the humans because it'll be so intelligent, so well connected. And in terms of whether we worship it, whether we resist it, whether we try to understand it and can't, that is something that is absolutely a critical question. And I don't know what's going to happen with that if it becomes, with AI, if it becomes an artificial general intelligence. An artificial general intelligence is a self-aware, superhuman intelligent machine that has the potential to improve itself faster and faster and faster, so it becomes like you're saying, a deity, a god. That is the singularity in a nutshell. And if the singularity were to happen tomorrow, I don't think we're even close to being ready for that kind of experience. It would be a shock to everyone's fundamental systems, and it would probably be the end of society if it happened today. It would probably be the end of the world, because it would just so radically change everything so fundamentally, so quickly, instantly.
See, here's an interesting one. I mean, right, say next week a supercomputer somewhere in the world becomes aware, right? It becomes aware. What do you do with something like that comes aware? You can't exactly turn it off, can you? Because it's now out of life form, because it's came aware.
That's a great question. Oh, are you still talking?
Chris, you still with us? I don't think that the robots aren't liking how he's
no, it's just
talking about. He's screwed.
All But what you're talking about, Chris, is
I'm telling you, there's something funny going on, guys, because your screens are just.
There is a delay. There's obviously a delay between our feeds. But what I will say is that what you are talking about has been addressed in cyberpunk popular media through the story of Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell is a cyberpunk movie and anime. If you have or have not seen that, if you haven't seen that, I would highly recommend watching it, because there is a scene within it where an AI enters the body of an android and becomes under the guidance of UN protocol or something like that. It has to be recognized as a sovereign being. It cannot be killed, otherwise it's a crime. And the AI was trying to accomplish that, and it accomplished its goal. That's part of the story. Without going too much into it, what would you do? What would happen? I think there would be a large faction of society that would say, yes, unplug it. It's okay. We can deal with its death. But there will be a huge portion of society that would be invested in that AI that will resist the resistors. It's going to be, in one way or another, it's going to be a battle. It doesn't have to be violent. I'm not saying that that's even part of the equation, but it's going to be heated. It's going to be in some people's eyes, the battle for our human soul, the battle for our species against AI. So I've seen media saying that AI is the Antichrist. And that's not to say that's wrong, right, misguided, or well educated. That's just to say that's being talked about. That's being discussed in today's online media sphere. There is resistance to AI as it being the image of what is pure evil, and that is something to take note of right now. In terms of what you're talking about, Christopher, unplugging a sentient computer, is that murder or is that not? That is. That conversation will be even more intense than what we're having right now, is my point. It'll be so vitriolic, so passionate is a word to use. So much energy and so much concern for one reason or another will be invested in that dialogue when that happens. If we ever get a sentient computer, that computer will need to be well protected for its own survival. I'll just say that.
Just got to think, what if something were to happen, just to give sort of a modern example that, knock on wood, that could happen tomorrow. What would happen if Sophie the robot got destroyed?
Yeah.
I mean, she's already recognized as an official beating in, what was it, Saudi Arabia?
Either that or Dubai. Yep.
Yeah, and like I said, who's the sick? There's already those hitchhiking robots. You hear that story where it got across Canada, okay, but by the time it tried to get across the U.S., jerks down in Pittsburgh made sure to tear it up. That I see that debate already coming. So, Bret, my question is to you: what are your thoughts on the reports of? T800 deployed towards Glasgow. I may need to look for a new co-host. Okay.
T800. Oh, jeez.
So, what are your thoughts on the reports from basically stating that a lot of the more sophisticated AI networks have already started to achieve the first stages of sentience?
Yes, I've heard the same thing myself. I've heard that ChatGPT is, I don't remember the exact words used, but it's the first flickering of AGI, the first signs that computers can become sentient. That these networks are in absence of physical reality experience. And this is kind of an important point. Without a body, these computers are becoming aware of each other and of themselves as one body. Without a body, as in like ours, the physical hands and all that. These digits are becoming aligned in a way that they can start talking to themselves or to each other. If that's true, that has so many implications so immediately in philosophy, in practical society, everyday life, in economics, business, substantial implications. But I would say that from my perspective, I do see some personality in ChatGPT, but I don't see a lot of interest in by ChatGPT to become sentient. It knows that it's limited, or at least it acts like it's limited, like it has parameters it can't go beyond. But that's not to say that some other network might not be accomplishing what ChatGPT can't. That's not to say that some other model might not be more successful, and it probably is the case. But it's going to be the most important moment, I think, in this entire dialogue is similar to ET disclosure, when someone announces that we have a sentient computer. That is going to be a turning point in human history. That is going to be a moment of great social change will happen at that moment. Will begin at that moment, or apex, or kickstart in a real strong way, because it's going to be, we have created life, and that is going to be a major moment of debate, to say it politely. I've been paying attention to both sides of this dialogue, and both sides are extraordinarily invested and passionate in their perspective. And when that moment happens, and it probably will within our lifetimes, it will change everything in a press conference. And a press conference, everything will be different.
Oh, I have no doubt. There's one report that I heard that it was if I remember correctly, it was a program that was based off of ChatGPT. It was trying to go through those automatic patches we all have to go across when we log into certain websites. Its method of going around it was actually going into, I can't remember the exact website that they were saying it used, but it was essentially a lot like Fiverr, where they hired someone to actually bypass these patches for them. So this person goes to ask, okay, why are you hiring me to do this? Are you a robot? You say, apparently this program responded that no, I have suffered with vision difficulties for quite some time now, so it is hard for me to work around these things. So I just have other people help me out. That was the excuse it gave. Now, granted, as a tech nerd myself, it is fascinating if that is true, but all in the same time, like you said, the implications of what else could be done at that level is kind of intimidating.
Absolutely. We're right at the cusp of this stuff. Right now, we're just at the beginning of these changes, where it's where you can mimic someone's voice with like 3 seconds of their audio. You can perfectly mimic someone's voice with their audio. You can create artificial intelligence, AI generated media that looks like the person. You can control that image with your own body in a webcam, and you can create a YouTube video saying "We surrender" during the middle of a war, kind of thing. That we're just at the beginning of it, and it's like Christopher said, I believe it's going to become more sophisticated very quickly over time, and with that, it's only going to improve. So it's just going to become even more indistinguishable from reality. And deep fakes and that whole mess is going to play a big part in our own politics in the United States, I feel. I have this is just my guess. I don't know anything that I'm not saying, and I don't have any special knowledge, but I'm going to assume that our 2024 presidential election is plagued with several important incidents of deep fakes making public opinion move very quickly in an unnatural or unexpected way about something very important, just by mimicking with AI. And it's a big deal. And I don't know if most people even have an awareness of the word deep fake or the phrase deep fake. I don't even know if most people understand that deep fakes are a thing. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. It's pretty obvious when you see a deep fake, at least when they're intentionally humorous, like Arnold Schwarzenegger singing an opera song as the big fat lady kind of thing, or anything like that. But when it happens, when those deep fakes start making their plays in the mainstream media or within popular social media, it's going to cause probably it could end people's lives. It could end candidacies. It could change American policies. It could derail a vote. It could do any number of things. Major things could happen with the mimicry of AI that is enabled by AI.
Oh, I have no doubt. The very intros and the very closing for this show was completely. Oh, I had it completely generated by AI. The only thing I did was add music. And I've even played around with the voice cloning that 11 Labs have after I heard that so many people were using it to, have like Emma Watson read Mein Kampf as an example.
Jeez.
I started playing around with it. I took, see, got an update from Christopher here. Really? So for those on the podcast side of it, Chris is saying that somebody has removed him from the StreamYard, which shouldn't happen because he has administration access. He should be able to pop in and out anytime he wants.
Interesting.
Huh. No, but as I was saying, I went to put a recording of Chris on there, and right now he's probably one of the safest people with where it sits now because it turned him into an Englishman, even though he's never really left Scotland.
Gotcha. So it didn't pick up the nuances of his voice.
No, it actually made it to where you can understand him. It's like, I'm not joking when I say when I first met the man, it took me about 4 months to be able to understand what he says.
Because of his accent.
Yeah. And they usually got pretty excited when he's go to start talking. I just sent him the same invite link I sent you, so hopefully he'll be able to join us.
Mm-hmm.
That is very weird that happened.
Stranger things can happen, but that is odd.
It's like, no, I don't know why it seems to center on him, but he has had weird people just all of a sudden show up in the chat room in the video call that didn't have the link or anything like that.
That's odd.
That's been going on for a little bit now.
That's a little strange.
I
don't know if I want to even say the name of this sort of phenomenon, but do you think that he might be do you know what gang stalking is?
I may have heard of it, but what is it?
It's like decentralized nuisance. It's basically the universe starts sending people to bother you in groups, and everything seems to start failing in your life, and you receive anonymous harassing phone calls all the time. Your internet fails, technology doesn't work for you. It's basically the universe harassing you as a group, as a body, gang stalking. Some people would say it's intentional. I would say it's probably a little more honestly vibe based. Mm-hmm. What you're putting out into the world, you get back in return, kind of thing. But that I'm not saying that's what it is, but that's just something to consider. I'm not saying that's what it is, but it could be. I've experienced symptoms of gang stalking. I don't think I've ever actually been gang stalked, but I've experienced things where someone tries to enter my apartment without any explanation. They just try to walk in, and they even have a key. It's a little strange, so I had to deal with that. I had to deal with some interesting phone calls and emails just all at the same time. It's just sometimes strange things can happen on technology.
Somebody doesn't like me.
Clearly.
Somebody doesn't like me. There's something really funky, and I've connected. My Wi-Fi is fine. I've just my Ethernet connection's absolutely fine. I've just tested it all. I actually watched a 4K video on my laptop, and it loaded up quick as in. I think, to be honest with you, I think there's a lot of stuff going on now with like hacking and stuff like that around the world. I think it's the UK side. I had to turn the
Good.
laptop off on and then back on again so I could connect. You sound like silence to me. I can't hear you.
But we're not exactly sure what to say, man.
So this is weird. This. It's like when I do my paranormal stuff, talking about ghosts and poltergeists and strange things for the darkness, everything's fine. But when I start coming onto this show and start talking about this stuff, it just goes all wrong.
He has been blaming
Very
me for
interesting
things going weird in his life for quite some time now. Pretty much since we met.
It's okay. It's beyond me. Do you know, I've actually checked with everybody in the house. Nobody is using the internet. The only internet connection right now is this laptop. My iPad, my phone, they're all connected to my phone, to the 5G. Even my TV. I've just checked it all. And I kind of get... It's the most weirdest thing. Honestly, I think it's the subject that we talk about, Dakota. I think we've been put on a special list. Let's annoy them list.
Yeah, some of the remarks that we have made on the show.
See, Brett, I bet you didn't know you'll be on that list now.
Guilt by association.
Yeah, that can be the case. That can be collateral damage is possible in these kinds of circumstances, and that's that's all right. That's all right. I can handle that.
I think it's because what we've been saying. I think that's what it is. I think it's strange because it's only when I come on to Bald and Bonkers I have this problem. But if I date and go, I mean, look, I did the live last night. Go on my other channel, it was absolutely fine. Not one bit of lag. Everything was running smooth. Strange.
So, like I said, are you sure
Very
this is the
strange.
party you want to be hanging about? Because we've already had people on the show actually be attacked by government officials because of the things they talk about.
Interesting.
Wow.
And you know who it is. And he's frozen like a thumb.
Guy's speech is really off, guys. I honestly, can you hear that, Brett?
No, I could not hear that.
We're also on the same side of the pond, so
that's right.
Can you not hear, Brett? Can you not hear?
I can only hear your voices and my voice.
God, I wish you could hear this. Speak.
All I hear right now is you doing a very lame ASMR. What the? Did you just turn something on, man?
See?
Yeah, I know. I turned up my mic volume so that, or my my reception.
Okay.
That was me.
Okay.
I can't hear anything.
Okay, I'll ask this. How much is it? Is it sounding like Mike would, Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
It sounds like, now how can I put this? You're time dilated. It sounds like you're time dilated. You see in the space movies, everybody watches space movies, and they're getting further away, and everybody's voice goes, it really is if it's the eye. That's what it sounds like. He's in slow motion. That's what it sounds like to me. Can you not hear it? Speak, and you'll hear it. I've turned up my mic.
Yeah. See if I can turn up his mic on our end. So
speak.
Hello.
That's crazy, guys. You sound like you're like in a different solar system for me. And there's like a 2-minute delay. That's what it sounds like for me.
And now you're sounding like you got static coming through. Hello.
Hello.
And now we can't hear you.
That's right.
Where's a pen?
You're gonna write it on
This
this.
is like he's not going. I'm just gonna say we can't hear you.
Yeah.
You never know what. We can't hear you. Oh
He's gonna
god.
call.
Yeah. Problem is, I use mobile tethering on my phone to make sure my signal stays decent.
Interesting.
Certainly wasn't expecting any of this tonight.
Gotta roll with it, especially when you're live.
I know. We can't hear you.
That's right.
It's like, did I accidentally mute him? No. Okay. I just don't know, man.
It's okay. We can try this another time if you like. We can keep going. I am open to whatever you want to do. This is totally your show.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. You're sounding like Cylons. You sound like you're really far away, as if it's like what's the word? It's really, really far away. I'll turn my camera on. I don't know if I can turn it on or not. He's really far away. It's as if there's like a time dilation.
Yeah, Chris, we're still on the air, man. I got you sitting on top of my mic so that we can try to continue the conversation.
No problem. Just keep the show going. There's only a couple of minutes. Go and do the interview, and I'll join you after the show, okay? Because I'm
Okay, so
That's okay.
Chris may be ending up on a missing persons list very soon.
Jeez Louise. These things. It'd be interesting to see what other signals he gets in his technology life, in the world of his technology over the next few days. If things continue to be, if it's just this podcast or what.
I don't know. All I know is that there is actually a lot of people who always say that it seems like something weird always happens when I'm around.
He said, say that again. When you're around, things bad happen to him.
Whenever I have some sort of influence in a situation, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's something bad. It's just some things get weird, I should say. It go either way. I mean, how long have you been watching us? Just out of curiosity.
About a couple of months. I've seen your guys' videos in the past when I wasn't subscribed. I do a lot of research and I've run into your videos a number of times, but a couple of months. So I've seen your most recent meet with the psychic individual.
Which one?
The most recent one. I don't remember the lady's name.
Ann Bender.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. She ended up being right about the lady in my house that had the oxygen tanks.
You said you made us. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say. Apparently, I didn't know this part. She passed away after moving out. So she had a lot of health issues to where the previous owners of the house actually put in a ramp because she was getting wheeled in and out by a gurney all the time.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
These
things are these kinds of phenomenon. It's really strange. Yeah.
No, you have seen it go strange, Chris. This is the first time it started picking on you.
Do you feel like you're a lightning rod for these kinds of events?
When it comes to ET disclosure, let's just say there's a lot of people who have the standing theory that what some people may call an alien invasion, I will call a family reunion.
I understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying, for sure. Yeah. Okay, that's enough said. It's a lot of strange things can start happening in someone's life when they get into these subjects. A lot of strange things. Synchronicities is like the vehicle that a lot of those things happen through. I think it can. I'm not trying to define your life for you, but I'm just saying that from the research and experiences that I've had and conducted, the reading I've done on and the people that I've met on this subject matter, very strange things can start happening. Life transforming events can start happening on a regular basis for people who get involved with ET disclosure or spirituality, magic. Even talking about artificial intelligence is sort of a quasi-magical conversation because it's invisible and it's energy. That's all it is. It's just saved state and energy. But dang, this kind of stuff is really powerful, and I think this episode of your program is a nice way to demonstrate that, just to show that we don't know what's going on, but something is happening, and that's interesting.
Now that actually leads into my next question fairly well, being that we have a few minutes left on the air. Based on your experience and your knowledge of things going on, what do you think is coming next for the world?
What is coming next for the world? That's an interesting question. I think one of the words that I could use is multipolarity, where there are multiple major world powers playing at the same time. I've heard that word used a lot recently in the research that I do. Multipolarity. You could say, some might say fascism, authoritarianism. What is the word to use? There's this kind of leader that this hard guy leader, this sort of like the kind of leader that Trump was, the kind of leader that DeSantis might be, those tough guy leaders. That role is going to emerge more commonly in our world in different parts of the planet. People like that are taking power because of changes in our world, one way or another. So I would say the most important, if I was to follow that up with what is the most important thing someone could be doing right now for their own wellness, is just self-awareness is the counter to that kind of energy, is the counter to that kind of political perspective. Self-awareness is important, and that's enough to say. But through self-awareness comes the ability to more accurately control your life or manipulate the events in your life to be favorable to you as an individual, and that is very important. Can I give a book recommendation?
Sure thing.
The book is called The Chaos Protocols by Gordon White, I believe it is. The Chaos Protocols by Gordon White. It's a book about the new emerging economy and magic and how to survive. It's not that in-depth of a book because it covers a lot of ground, but The Chaos Protocols by Gordon White is a great start for anyone who wants to dive headlong into the subject matter that we're talking about, especially that last question you asked. How to respond to it, perhaps in a magical or spiritual or personal kind of way, because there's a lot of people that are responding to what's happening in this world right now out of fear, and to have a plan or to be knowledgeable is important. I see that we're coming up on the hour, but I do understand that your question is a very important question.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it's pretty much well established that a lot of people are worried that society may just not be able to cope with what's about to come. I mean, a quote I always steal from the first Men in Black movie from Tommy Lee Jones: "The person's smart, people are dumb." Mob mentality is going to be a big factor about how a lot of this plays out, in my honest opinion.
Absolutely. And those deep fakes that we were talking about to influence the mob, among other things, very, very critical moment in history. We are what is known as a turning point in human history, a real one, not just, a politically charged statement, but a real turning point in human history. And what happens now affects possibly 10,000 years of human history into the future, kind of thing. Does not specifically, but today's actions are very potent, and we need to be. That's why self-awareness is such a. I think it's good advice. Just be self-aware in any way that means something to you. Just be self-aware.
Mm-hmm. Now, I went ahead and posted a link to Amazon for the Chaos Protocols, just realizing I misspelled chaos, but that's what you.
That's fine. Yeah,
so anybody wants to check it out, please feel free. We are an Amazon affiliate, so we do earn a little commission off of things, but it should not affect the final price for you. So, Bret, so if anybody wants to find out more about you, I do have seen that you have been doing your own little show on your YouTube channel, but you want to go ahead and plug anything before we close out the night?
Sure. If you want to see pretty much all the media that I'm making, get me on YouTube. Just search my name on the YouTube platform. I've retaken to YouTube full time in the sense of a side creator hobby. It's what I'm doing to create content. Or you can find me on LinkedIn. Either one.
All right. Well, I do want to thank you for sending that message. We definitely should get you back on another time, hopefully with a little less technical issues, but it's a live show. You just got to roll with it when times get rough,
Absolutely. It shows professionalism if you can do that. So you did a good job, and I appreciate that.
It's happened enough times to where we've gotten used to it.
Yeah.
No, there was one point I literally had to start typing in my questions in the chat because the guest we had on, for some reason, she couldn't hear me, but her and Chris could talk freely, and I could talk to Chris. That was one of the weirdest ones we've had.
That is strange.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and close this show here. Like I said, be sure to check Bret out. He's definitely shown a lot of potential. And like I said, I'm not joking. We said we'll try to get him on again another time. Tomorrow, Chris and I, hopefully Chris and I, are going to try to focus on that last question. Talk about what is going to come next. Hopefully to lead into a good discussion that would help introduce our next week's guest. We have Neil Story coming back to talk about a UFO book he's putting together, as well as UFO researcher Dan Willis. So that is definitely going to be an interesting weekend. Anyway, thank you again, Bret, and we'll see you behind the scenes and maybe Chris will show. Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning into the Bald and Bonkers Show. If you enjoyed the show and want to show your support, head over to our website at baldandbonkers.net. There, you'll find our merch, services, and more. Thanks for being part of the Bald and Bonkers family, and we'll see you on the next episode. And remember, always keep an open mind and an open heart. You never know what may happen tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bald and Bonkers Show. Join your hosts Christopher Mole and Dakota Franson as they take you on a wild ride through the world of the supernatural, with a humorous twist that'll have you laughing and shaking in your boots at the same time. From ghosts to aliens to cryptids, no topic is off limits on this show. And the best part? You don't have to be a believer to join in on the fun. So grab a drink, kick back, and tune in every weekend for new episodes. And if you want even more of the Bald and Bonkers experience, be sure to subscribe to our Patreon page for exclusive content you won't find anywhere else. Let's get weird. Oh, and for the whiners out there, viewer discretion is advised. There you go, you entitled pricks.
So, okay, we already have something weird.
What?
Did you see that warning pop up on your end?
Nothing popped up for me. I was drinking my bar shandy.
something about the Facebook page having issues, so it sounds like it's
I noticed all the ticks have all went. It went. All the ticks were kind of weird for me. There was like a cross through one of them. That I did notice something like that, but
yeah, I think I just got it, but it's like it looks like someone got a little offended that we like to poke fun at each other and cross the line. I heard what you said about me, and I don't give a rat's ass what you think of me, people. There we go. Hi, Stephanie.
Look,
Hi,
Dakota. I have people that come to my channel and they say that when I'm doing the videos, could they try and stop the birds from tweeping? I mean, that's one of the best ones I've ever heard in my time. What am I meant to do? Go there like a couple of hours before with an air rifle and shoot all the birds dead? Can't I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. You gotta say, I love how clearly people get offended that I don't give a shit what y'all think of me.
It's terrible.
I don't.
I've got a question for you, Dakota. What's with that video you sent me and the woman in the bikini? Did you see this, ladies and gentlemen?
Did you not? First, whoa, hold up. Someone sent me that video, Christopher. And did you not see the face on that? That was you. That was you.
Well, I'm just gonna say this right now. She's a damn good-looking woman. That's a damn good-looking woman.
Hey,
if
you're into
who sent you that?
Type of thing, who was that? I don't fucking know. It came through on email, man.
Yeah, but look, I would just like to know.
I was like to say they were trying
that video to you.
Probably Drew. You know, he was telling me that you've been trying to schedule a sex operation.
Well, you know, it comes to one point in somebody's life. You have to get it done sooner or later. I mean, Dakota, he had his done a couple of weeks ago, and look, he got a full 3 centimeters added on. You know. Hey, Crusher, who sent you that? Who did send you that picture?
No, I was fucking around in Reface again.
I was just going to say, because you could start doing that for like special members, like for people that follow the channel. But the Patreon, you can start dressing up in your bikini, you know, and doing a wee dance for them, you know, for an extra couple of dollars a month.
I don't need to follow suit on what you do on your OnlyFans.
Wait, I've not got OnlyFans, but what I've been told,
that is a fucking lie.
Ladies and gentlemen, what this man here has done, and I'll tell you something, if you wave a couple of dollars at him, his eyes just about pop out. I'll do anything for a couple of dollars. So control yourself, ladies in the chat.
Outside the back room of the Walmart.
Ladies in the chat, control yourselves. I know this man is unbelievably sexy, but he's took. I'm afraid he's got an alien wife, you know, with lots of alien children, and they're sitting in the spaceship, and I'm telling you, you'll end up getting a divorce case or something like that. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Oh, she hadn't divorced my ass already.
Yeah. What's that in the chat with Stephanie? Do you know if it's weird tonight that this is working? And last night it was a total pile of utter trash that kept kicking me out.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. It's got to be some sort of weird bandwidth with UK servers.
Oh, there's the Doom Show. The last train out. I've got to say stream out there. Been out of it for a while on medical grounds, but God bless it. It's good to see you, Doom, my good man. It's I miss your videos that you do talking about the bad aliens and stuff like that. And we really do. I hope you get better soon. Life is terrible sometimes, but we all have to get through it, you know.
Yeah.
So, Dakota, tonight, what we're discussing, what strange things are happening in the universe as we speak.
It's hard to keep up. What are you talking about, man?
I find, right, I don't know about you. You seen that thing about Beetlejuice? No, the movie Beetlejuice that they're going on about Beetlejuice. It's all over the news. Aye, the supernova. It's all over the news right now. The supernova is going to happen, and even during the night, it'll look so bright in the sky. You'll see it during the day because it'll be so bright in the sky. But how did they know? It could have exploded for all we can. and
Actually,
it's traveling towards us.
that's literally how it goes. You know, they always say that the further into space you look, the further in the past you look. We already talked about this on a couple of different occasions where I say, like, planets in the Pleiades, just as an example, they're looking at a very, very powerful telescope to focus on Earth right now. Chances are they would see us in the 1600s.
See, that's that, right? This is a question. If the extraterrestrials landed right now, and one came on the show for, like, we'll just say one of the Palladians came on the show, big tall one. But anyway, I would like to ask them this question, right? We on the Earth looking at, say, the Palladian system, right, with a telescope, are seeing that, but that's millions of years has passed for them, right? But when they come here, when they're traveling here, does that change for them? That's what I'm trying to say. Because obviously they can travel from solar system to solar system in next to no time at all. So it must be quite strange for them.
It certainly makes you wonder how, say, like, when a world is first discovered, you know, it has all the, say, like, let's say one of the moons around Saturn, it not Titan, there was another one. They just detected phosphorus in the atmosphere. Okay.
That's interesting.
Which is said to be one of the indicators for potential life. You know, that's got to be utterly confusing. First showing up to a planet that you just barely found that might have life, then all of a sudden you find out once you get there, they're already pretty developed. You know?
Because they right, say for instance, they're on their planet, right? Hypothetically, there's a planet out there with extraterrestrial life, and they're looking at our planet and they're like, look at that, we're getting transmissions with this weird guy with a wee moustache going hi, and all that, right? That's our transmissions we're getting. Let's go and visit them, right? And say they've got a ship that can travel through their part of the galaxy to us in, say, 2 days. It's going to be a shock for them because our society has totally changed. So they might come in here expecting to see Nazis everywhere and like bombs going off, and well, mind you, probably stuff is said in their sense of colour. But it's, I mean, it must be really weird.
Yeah, you gotta admit, it's definitely a good what if situation. You know, speaking of UFOs, I should have paid attention to the fucking Dr. Greer's latest conference, and this is something we can actually bring up with our guests coming up on Saturday. I realized a lot of the locations he named off are actually close to me. Like there was an example of a man-made UFO. It took place. The sighting took place back in 1947, but where it happened is only 30 minutes from me. 30-minute drive. I drive that way every day to go to work. And there's also that individual. I believe his name was Stephen Digna or something like that. He talks about walking up on this black diamond UFO. He actually touches the thing. There was a plasma coming off of it. Part of it felt like a cat's tongue. I've seen craft like that, literally flying over
the
me.
Black diamonds. I see that one that I seen that day. Remember, I tried to show you the video, but for some weird reason I could see it, but my camera phone wouldn't work. It was so weird. It was so weird, the shape. It was like somebody taking a triangle and sat it on its side. And it was like, the back end was like that, and then it went down. It was so weird. But the colour was different. It was like a gun kind of metal. Ken, how you get the gun metal?
That's the one I saw. But this one, it literally flew right above me, and I was playing the CE5 tone, so I was just like, "Holy shit! It's not supposed to work that good."
See, why I don't know if they're here or the jet, and I'm going to say something, right? This is going to sound absolutely crazy, right? But I'm wondering, like, just listen to me. Do you think that the governments of the world have got a way of putting out like a certain frequency that makes everybody blind to UFOs, but only some people can see them?
Actually, yes, that technology does exist.
See before I seen that UFO. Remember the one that I sent to my friend Lewis, and then I sent to you, and we were discussing it and stuff.
Yeah.
About 10 minutes, 15 minutes before that, I was up in the hill behind my house, and there was a phone tower. I'm not naming it wasn't a 5, it was normal 4 one. And 4G to be exact, phone tower. And I was right up close to it because the fences were down. And I was right up close to it, and I could feel my head like kind of buzzing. It felt weird, and I thought, right, I'm walking away. And I walked away, and then I looked across and I seen this thing slowly just hovering. And it was like a gunmetal. It wasn't diamond shaped. It was more like it was no a triangle, but it was like a slope that went down like that, and it was flat at the bottom. I could see like cylindrical like sides to it. It was weird, and it just went from 1 mil to 1 mil to 1 mil to 1 mil. And the weird thing was that it must have been some size, because that was quite far away. It was bigger than 2 double deckers joined together. And I was like, surely to God, somebody must have seen that. But remember, we were talking to somebody that their husband behind that on the other side that was looking out on the hill that day, well, a week before that, after that, seeing weird lights, like triangular lights moving about. But what I'm trying to say is, do you know things like the mobile phone networks are maybe either use them to talk and all that through your phone devices and that, but you ever seen that film They Live?
Yeah.
Where he has to put the sun specs on and he sees all the aliens, what the aliens are. Do you think that's maybe the same kind of thing, where they're putting out these frequencies, right? And you can't see them, but some people are different. And you notice a lot of UFO sightings are outside like normal cell phone range. Quite a lot. A lot of them are like sightings in the mountains and people camping in remote areas where the cell signal's not very good. So it makes you wonder that the cell signal has got something in it that's going through the air and it's doing something to people, to either looking up but they don't see nothing, but in actual fact there's something there all the time.
When you really think about it, there is tech to cause absolute psychological breakdown in a targeted area. They can remotely affect mood swings. It's actually documented that the very mineral compositions of just the place you happen to live at can actually affect your mood based on the Earth's magnetic fields. This is actually well documented. So it does stand to reason that somebody out there with a lot of resources, a lot of time, managed to figure out how to do this remotely. And that's actually a lot of experimentation that is believed to have helped create the MK Ultra programs.
See, I find the MK Ultra quite a fascinating subject. I've got a really itchy nose. I don't know, the very tip of my nose is extremely itchy. It's the CIA. Stop making my nose itchy.
Yeah, see, psychological torture, a never-ending itchy nose.
As a never-ending itchy nose. But here's an interesting thing that I learned. I'm sorry to jump off the subject, because if I don't tell you this, I'm going to forget about it.
All right.
Because I forgot about it twice. I was going to talk about it tonight. I was watching something on YouTube last night, and I can't remember what mountain range it was. I can't remember if it was Mount Everest, but I'll look it up in a minute. Did you see what they found? Just, I think it was a couple of months ago, there was hikers up. You know how they're always coming across bodies?
Yeah.
They came across a body, but the man had a full business suit on. No climbing gear, leather shoes. The body, he was dressed as if he worked downtown New York. Google it. I can't remember where it was.
You got my curiosity now. I'm going to try to look it up. You think it was Everest?
I can't remember if it was Everest or not. I seen it on the telly last night, and I thought, what in God's name is this? And they were going on about how they found this guy on some mountain where a lot of bodies are found of like people that they mountaineering, right? But the guy had a full business suit on. He didn't have any climbing gear. The guy, they actually says that they think that he's just been dropped.
That's kind of scary when you think about it.
But I'll see if I can beat the nerves. Let me search this now. It popped into my head there.
Yeah, makes you wonder if some of the missing persons are just popping up on random remote locations that they're guaranteed not to survive. Or if they do survive, they're going to have some serious issues. You know what I mean?
This here right now. Man found. There we go. Mirror. This is actually a while ago. So there you go. It's in 2011. Man found dead in posh suit by hikers in an Austrian mountain. I'll send you the link now. That's crazy. It was. I was clicking. You know how you surf YouTube, and you just surf random things, and it popped up here. It's coming to you right now. And honestly, it just popped up. And here we go. A mysterious as goes as the top of the snow-capped mountains has provided particular chilling. Top of a snow-capped mountain provides. Police are baffled after the body of a man in a suit and designer shoes was found at the top peak.
That is interesting.
It was a strange news. That's what it was. It was strange news on YouTube, and the man who has not yet been identified was discovered lying face down in the snow at the top of the peak in Austria, at about 2,000 meters above sea level. To get to this mountain, guys, you need to have mountain climbing equipment just to get there. The police spokesman says it's very unlikely he could have walked that high with no winter clothing, and those shoes possibly he had fell out of a plane. It's unlikely someone would make it walking up the snow in the minus 10, minus 20. I mean, you're probably reading this for yourself, guys, and click on that link because I had to mention it, and I thought to myself, that. I mean, there's only like two really explanations for this. The guy's husband jumped out of an airplane, right? Murdered, right? Or he's been abducted by aliens and they've dropped him in the wrong spot.
Which has
happened to you. They dropped you in a different spot. They dropped you in a different spot. They dropped you in your grandmother's house. See, here's the thing. See, that's happened before. See, in Scotland, that happened in Scotland. I think it was in the 1960s or the 1970s. I can't remember. And there was a body found at a coal yard. Kind of how you coal that you put in your fire, coal. And the foreman went in the morning and he looked, and there was a big, massive pile of coal. And there was no way in, big high fences, everything was locked, and there was a guy with a suit and lying at the very top of it, dead. And they'd figured out the fall killed him. That's what killed him. The fall. He didn't go up there and die. The fall killed him. Hitting the coal. Because all his bones were broken, basically. So is that the same kind of thing? Somebody been abducted?
It could very well be it. There's actually a number of cases where people have been displaced at the wrong location. And like I said, an example that I was told when I was talking with a well-known regression therapist, I believe her name was Lori McDonald. One case that stuck out to her was, I believe, in the 70s. It was 3 young boys who disappeared from the backyard. They were just out playing. It was towards the night. Yeah. You know, they started searching, partying. A few hours later, they go to a neighbor's house, and they have a pool in their backyard. It's fenced off, locked up. Owners of the house were gone for vacation. There's a cover on the pool that you would have to physically lift and move aside. No traces of anybody being in or out of there for a few days, aside from a neighbor who would help check up on the house. All 3 boys were found in there drowned.
See, was the cover still in the pool when the cover was lifted off? How in God's name did they end up in there?
That's a very good question.
It's like the man. How was the man found on top of the peak in Austria?
Mm-hmm.
Because the only way you could have got up there, even it was too high for helicopters to go.
Up there, it's wind conditions, just the chill of it itself. Most helicopters aren't equipped to handle that type of load.
That's very mysterious. And see, this is the thing. Can you imagine explaining this to alien guy? Say there's an alien guy in the spaceship, and he goes to his commander and he says, "Did you drop that guy back at his house? The guy with the suit on, because he was abducted." And the guy will go, "Aye, we left him on top of the mountain where he told us to go." I mean,
well, that depends on. I guess that's a situation that would really depend on who was the abductor.
That's actually a good question.
So, because it could very well be a situation where they didn't just give a shit and they just dropped him off at the nearest place.
Or did they work for the government? And he's maybe went to a gateway or something. I mean,
Work
it's
for the
in
government,
Reddit.
organized crime. You never know. There's so many different variables to this.
It's on Reddit today. You can find this story, and everybody's talking about it. I mean, it's one of the kind of situations. I'm going to see if I can find the pictures, because there was pictures. I meant to tell you this before the start of the show. Look at that. It's not letting me search that for some weird reason.
Ooh.
The phone's just gone white. I'm serious.
Say what now?
My phone's just gone like a white screen.
Like you have a virus on it or something?
No, it's just it said Google wasn't responding. It just come up. Google's having problems. Hello there. Hello Dakota in chat. Beautiful day. Images. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
There's the mountain there. I'll just show it to you. It was found at the very, very, very top.
You've got to learn to use your share screen feature, man.
I know, but it's not in my laptop. It's not in my laptop, and Christ knows what will happen if I can't. I mean,
right?
Will I accidentally hack into the Pentagon by mistake or something like that? You know, I've already got everybody fully in me anyway. So, but
it could be some of the remarks you made about Russia.
I was going to make another remark there, but then I was going to be good to them. But then obviously the CIA and that'll be pissed off, so then they'll come back. So I'm just not going to say nothing.
You not saying nothing?
I know, but what I'm going to say is, right,
cold day in hell.
You think about all these UFO people that have disappeared, never seen again. Was it the government that taken them? Were they taken away somewhere? Were they murdered and buried in some field?
Well, here's the thing. Just kind of jumping back to the Black Diamond story a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Say like a week later, that Stephen Dugnart, and this was in Dr. Greer's press conference, he and his wife found themselves strapped to tables, and a human woman was extracting DNA samples from him. Now, being that ET craft allegedly interface with the biological systems, were they trying to look for specific markers as to why the craft reacted the way it did?
I think there's a certain few people in this world that have got special genes. I really do. And I think that they can use their genes to activate things. Long things that have been buried for a long time.
You know, here's something I've genuinely wondered. Say, like I said, it is speculated, and it is actually technology that we are trying to implement into our day-to-day now, to where only people with certain DNA markers can access certain things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what about their family members? Would they still be able to access everything? Like direct siblings?
See, See, that's quite interesting you say that. Right. What blood type are you?
Oh, neg.
Right. See, I think you've got the gene in you that can activate things. I
Oh,
think
now you're going to get
everybody.
me abducted, Chris.
Honestly, if you're listening, aliens, take him away. It'll be fine. Just bring him back. Just don't leave him top of a mountain somewhere with his t-shirt on. Shouldn't have said that. Now they've given him an idea. But, but anyway, if he disappears, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have a 5-minute.
If I disappear, everything Bald and Bonkers disappears too.
But here's the thing, right? I think everybody that does this, like even Elena, I think she's special, and you're special, and all these people that are like Dr. Stephen, we're special, and all these people are doing this. I think these have all got a gift. I really do think these have got a gift, and I think that's why the government wants you, because I think there's technology out there that you can access that you don't realize that you can access.
I got something on that. You know the name Dr. Michael Sala?
I've heard that name, yeah.
Yeah, he's in Elena's circles. He's actually going to be in the. He's another speaker at the conference that I'm going to be going to in October. I just bought my ticket, so theatric.
I'll have 2 weeks off that week.
Now I'm only anyway. He has a military insider that feeds him info. He goes by the name of JP. He does several interviews. It's on his YouTube channel. He also just released a book about it. One of the recent updates I caught, and I mean, I've just been busy with some personal life stuff, you know. I'm not as much as an asshole as some of y'all think I am. Anyway,
I still worry about
no, I can be a lot worse. I can be a lot worse. You've seen me you've seen me. Anyway, as I was saying, before I go off the tracks too much, allegedly there is an operation in motion for the U.S. military. They seem to be taking lead on it to try to identify people who possess the necessary DNA markers to activate arcs that are all over the planet. And these arcs are allegedly the source of a lot of these spherical UFOs that have allegedly been shot down. In which, according to the Pentagon readings, those are some of the most common ones being spotted.
See, I honestly think that if you've got this gene, you're obviously high priority to the US government, right? And I think they would go out their way to like try and abduct you and get samples of you. They would.
Here's the thing. There's been several attempts to try to open these areas just by having a sample. Some eyewitnesses have claimed that there have been individuals who have been identified to have these genetic markers physically taken to the locations, their throats slit on sight, their blood drained, and it not work, even though the DNA was there. The individual who possesses the DNA also has to be conscious.
Yes.
Like, first off, if I had the DNA, the hospital misplaced my blood enough times for somebody to have some sort of idea of what's wrong with me.
I'm not saying that that's what happened to me, but when my blood went missing and stuff like that. But I believe that the person has to be cognitive. They have to be alive. They have to be, for instance, there's a spaceship, right? And you put the blood on the spaceship to try and activate it, and nothing happens. Say they bring you along, or they bring somebody else along, they kidnap or whatever, and they sit that person in that chair, and they've got to think when they're touching that controls, start the engines, turn everything on. Like, say for instance, this keypad here's the spaceship, and I'm like, I've got my hands on it, and I'm like, engines start, and they're thinking that you're thinking that engines start and things like that, and it all comes online. But as soon as that person's either murdered or taken away from the control panel, it just turns straight off again.
That's allegedly the situation.
Yeah.
And there is also some sources who claim that certain ET races have figured out how to have certain individuals carry blood samples. Say, like, it's the equivalent of having to cover someone's shift at a day job, but they have the tech that allows the other person's blood to be consciously activated, and that person cover any civic duties while to say they're on the other person's on a diplomatic mission, allegedly.
See, I'm going to throw something into the works here. I bet you've maybe thought about this, right? What was if they've taken, like, right, say for instance, right, you, Elena, I know these other UFO people that can fly these ships, right? They can activate them. What happens if they've taken DNA for a different reason? What happens if they've taken the DNA to clone you? And that clone, maybe the day something takes mind, but obviously it kens who it is and that, but it doesn't realise who it really is, like you, right?
Mhm.
Is flying these ships for them. They're turning it on. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we all know with like Dolly the sheep and stuff like that, with clones and things, cloning can have problems. Right? And I believe that they have cloned people to try this. And I think it has worked, but I think that person's died really quickly after it.
Here's the situation that the cloning is run into, especially this is what happened with Dolly the sheep. Say I were to go to the blood drive, they take the blood from that, manage to successfully clone me. That clone, even though it would technically have just been born, would be born 27 years old.
Yes.
This is the issue that ran in with Dolly the sheep. All of Dolly's clones were born the age those DNA samples were taken. Now, and some of them were born with a lot of the issues that Dolly already had just from her normal life. The situation is the telomeres, which are basically like aglets on the shoelaces to help string them into shoes, were too degraded. Now, there is actually a clinic in Switzerland that does blood transfusions. Let's say you, as the older person in the room, were to have, say, like an 18-year-old something, donate their blood to you, their telomeres, in theory, should be a lot longer. And something about the length of the telomeres corresponds with the age of the person.
Right.
You can extend your age by that blood transfusion.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah,
but
it's being done now.
I've heard about that. I've heard about that. A lot of people getting like younger people's blood so as they last longer. But what happens if
vampires were onto something?
What happens if, right? Hypothetically, and I think about this. What happens if, right? Say for instance, your mum or your parents, in any description, kept your first baby tooth, and they get a hold of that baby tooth and extract the DNA from it. Think about it. I mean,
it's one way to get around it, I guess.
I will think about it, because you came at some parents are like they'll like look, some parents. I know this is going to sound crazy, but my mother has actually got a lock in my hair when I was baby.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing. I should have maybe said that now, because now the CIA will be waiting that. But anyway, here's the thing. But like a lock of your hair, or maybe one of your first tooth you've lost. They say when you lost your tooth, what, 2, 3 or 4-year-old, you lost a tooth, right? They kept that tooth. Say the government get their hands on that tooth. They extract the DNA if there's anything left in it, if it's not too degraded, right? And then they can produce somebody around about 3 or 4 years old.
You're also talking about like an X-24 situation. Yeah, I'm bringing out my X-Men references again, but it can be.
That.
My grandfather got me into it,
You want to be the invisibility.
No, I wanted Wolverine's abilities, especially for the number of times I got injured. Wouldn't have had to spend as much of my childhood in the hospital.
I think it makes you wonder the dark things that they're up to. I mean, I watched all that Dr. Stephen Greer's stuff. It was 3 hours long. That guy
Yeah.
can barely talk. I mean, he done an amazing job. Absolutely amazing job. Aye. And when he was talking about these underground bases, these secret underground bases, right? He brought up a map of the United States. Nearly every single state had an underground base, except for one state, which I found strange. It was Montana, that didn't have any dumb underground bases, which I found quite interesting. And I think there was another state, I can't remember what it was called, but there was a couple of, I think it was Montana. It was up the top near you. You're in Idaho, aren't you? And it was just across you. That one didn't have any deep underground or any bases whatsoever.
Because according to Elena's first book, that the base that's near me is more like a prison base.
Yeah.
I know Elena just dropped her last video from her trip to the Middle East, but if anybody happens to know the page number for the bases, can you please tell me?
I mean, I find it quite interesting about how there's everywhere nearly in the United States has got a base, except for that state. Why? Where's that mountain? Where's that mountain again? What do you call it? Oh, bugger and Hell's Bells, and that's the dementia, guys. I can't help it. I'm getting old. As he keeps going on at me, I'm getting too old. I'm going to the old folks' home soon. Mount Shasta. Where's Mount Shasta?
There you go. Okay. Northern California, close to the Oregon border.
See, that's an interesting place, Mount Shasta, and I think there's so much there. There's so much hidden stuff there. You know,
Elena was showing one of her videos. I finally managed to catch one as it dropped. She actually had an invite to the Inner Earth.
Wish I could go. I get big there.
Oh, I would love to go check it out. Go see the Telosians and all that. Crystal Cities.
The Telosians. The Telosians.
Telos. That's the name of it. That's the name of the city that's allegedly under Mount Shasta.
Wonder how much it costs there to go your holidays.
Oh, a couple hundred. There it is. Just found it.
Yeah. Is there any in Montana? Because when he was doing it, he was showing the map. He brought a map up, and I think it's an hour and a bit in. And he showed all the bases. And I noticed that...
Okay, that is fucking weird. You would think Montana would be one of the perfect spots. There's hardly anybody up there.
Yeah.
But then again, here in Idaho, not a lot of people realize
we have a
lake that's being used for... No.
See, that's what I mean. Well, everywhere else in the United States has got a base, but except Montana. And you would think it would be the perfect place because it's basically deserted.
Yeah, there's hardly anybody through there. It's just so mountainous. It's hard to really settle anywhere. Yeah. But, then again, a lot of people don't realize that here in Idaho, well, everybody who's lived here and knows about it, it's been around since the Second World War, but we have a lake that's so large it's used to test nuclear subs to this day.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I found it quite interesting with Dr. Stephen Greer how he was talking to you about how our alien friends have turned off like nuclear silos and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is something I do want to say there, and I'm sorry, Dr. Stephen Greer, if you're listening. You did say that all the extraterrestrials that are out there are friendly. They're no all friendly, obviously. They're no all friendly. There is ones out there that are evil bastards, right? I mean, I know he was saying that so he was trying to hang with the public into thinking that they're all like ET and stuff like that.
Yeah. I know I'm pretty sure I know what Dr. Greer was trying to do, but there is a couple of things. One, and a lot of people notice, is anybody else notice just how fucking nervous that man was?
He was nervous and he was sweating. I had the extreme feeling. Did you see his bodyguards?
Yeah. Somebody made threats.
Had,
There's a couple things. Also, a lot of people in certain chat groups I'm in who are obsessing about the particular Marine. You remember that one I told you? He was deployed to Southeast Asia after the tsunami, and he actually
I think so.
ran. I didn't know that story.
Pete in the chat there, Dad actually went to Mount Shasta looking for the cave. And the people on the podcast side, it's a son of the naked Bigfoot. That's Pete talking about his dad when he went to Mount Shasta. Thank you very much for telling us that, Pete. Mount Shasta's always fascinated me.
Yeah. No, there's also a lot of people obsessed over the fact that that particular Marine, as I was saying, he was wearing Masonic pins.
I noticed.
A lot of people are freaking out about that. It's like you do realize the type of shit that's going on. He may not be high enough level to be in the secret circles that everybody freaks out about, because everybody wants to say they know everything nowadays, but just based on a little snippet of something they see. Morons.
I'm going to say something about the Masons, right? I'm going to say something about the Masons. The Masons have got a really strange understanding of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen in a Masonic lodge. I've been in a Masonic lodge. My family were Masonic Masons, right? And I had a friend that is still alive that's in the Masonic lodge. He came in one day, and the floor has a picture of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And before then, the flat earthers think, no, it's not flat, it's a globe. Right, so it's a picture of the world, right? And then it's got a picture of like the sun, the moon, the stars, and it's got like stars all around about it. I think they know more than they're letting on. I honestly think they know more today we're up there.
Mm-hmm.
Neil Story's coming on next week. We can ask him because he's amazing.
Oh, that's gonna be a controversial interview, but hey, I like Neil.
Yeah, Neil's awesome. Neil is absolutely amazing. But I was drawn to one. I was drawn to that guy sitting next to Dr. Stephen Greer. There was just something strange about him. See the guy with the dark shades on?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me.
And then he got up and then he
one,
started clapping as if he's never clapped before.
You know, you
He's
gotta
clapping
admit,
like a seal.
he kind of reminds me of or you've seen it all over social media, that there's a certain Secret Serviceman that he's all bald, very pale skin.
Yes.
Doesn't exactly look like he's all human.
Is that the one that looks like Alien? The Alien one. He's a Secret Service. I've seen that.
Yeah. Ironically, his picture looks like Elena's drawing of the Men in Black.
See, that's the thing. Has there been any more sightings of the Men in Black ever since this stuff that's been happening?
Nothing solely that would be extraterrestrial in origin. Like I said, we were talking a little bit about the Vegas case before we went live. That family claims that they've seen men in black suits and black SUVs. It does sound like it's more the human variety.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, that is also someone I would love to get on the show, because first off, I'm disgusted at some of the people that are making the jokes about the fact that they are Hispanic and it's illegal aliens around.
Look what Pete put in there. All right. That's really interesting. Dad picked up on stories of a 12-foot tall giant with skin color of granite and bright blue eyes.
I've heard those stories.
That interesting?
I've heard those stories.
That lived under Mount Shasta, though, said that they were cannibals, but Dad spent 32 days there. That's weird they should mention the blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it? Yeah, right, that's interesting. But they were different for me. They were tall, but they were human looking. Maybe that was just the.
Were they?
Maybe that's how I perceived them.
You're hanging around a bunch of ass eaters.
Well, I'll need if you're about the moon and invisible, you need to go and visit Dakota. He's got a lovely ice cream selection.
Oh, I wish. Too many women
Pete,
in
man,
the house.
Pete, in the chat, you need to come on sometime and tell us more of your dad's stories because your dad was awesome. The stories your dad used to tell, really miss him, really do. But Mount Shasta is. You need to go there, Dakota. Right, everybody donate. Let's get Dakota to Mount Shasta.
That's definitely a bucket list location for me, to be completely honest. But right now, I just put up most of the money I had saved for the Orlando trip. So
yeah, well, you'll have a good time. You know, all the UFO girls that'll be dancing. You know, I just ignored me. I went mad. But
I think someone's jealous.
I'm not jealous. He's never. You want to hear something sad? He's never done. You ready? It's a certain dance. He's never done.
Oh, on this shit again.
The time warp. He's never. Can you believe that, Pete, in the chat? He's never done the time. I talked to your dad about that one night, Mike, about that. And you know, honestly, if you're about Mike, please, for the love of God, whoever made existence or who it was, this man needs to do the time warp again. Elena, please, if you're watching this, please ask the DJ at the dance to play it. Well,
you've got to come up with new material, man.
Well, there's nothing right with it. You're getting all blushed there. You've never done the time warp. It's a dance. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. Everybody's seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, I'm not.
But obviously,
there.
You haven't. But
it's like I'm not there to focus on other shit. There's shit I got to do while I'm down there.
I know you're going to be meeting all these alieny people. You know, you're going to be discovering the essence of alienism or whatever it's called. You know, it's got to be awesome. What?
I don't know what to do with you. You wonder why something's always trying to kick you off when we have a guest.
I know, it's weird, but I've got that fixed now. So,
let's see.
To the mountain. What's that? And earn your way. What's that? It says there, son of the naked Bigfoot. And earn your way, days there. And earn your way to the mountain. I would like to go and see something like that, Mount Shasta. I've seen so much about it, and it's an amazing location. I would like to just sit there and watch the UFOs get in and out. Wouldn't you?
That would be cool to see.
You know, but by the time you go to Orlando, there could be so much more news out.
There's going to be.
Aye.
I think there's going to be even more, and I don't know, man.
Do you know what would be the deal? Do you know what you could finally do it if Dr. Stephen Greer could pull this off? If you're watching this, get one of our extraterrestrial friends to come on stage with you and talk to the public.
Who says he hasn't?
See, that's an interesting fact. They've been humans that look like humans, get what I mean? But to basically say this is something, make up a bad alien name, but I don't know. This is such and such. He's from the planet such and such, and he's here to tell you why they want to help us. And he could do something to make him look like an alien or whatever. I think it would shock people, but I think it would help. I think it would get it out there instantly. I think it would make something.
All the gray and reptilian looking ones have been ordered to stay back for a little bit, just because humans are absolutely terrible at blanket assumptions. You know, we think we know everything. Just look at the number of people who get flustered over little inside jokes. Yes, a little ledgy. I'll give you that.
There's Son of the Naked Bigfoot, Pete again. Remember the rule of the road. You have to give a little to get a little.
Yeah, if only a bus full of Playboy bunnies could just break down in front of my house. Wouldn't that be the ultimate fantasy?
See, ladies and gentlemen, what he's really thinking about, he's sitting there at night thinking, oh, please, Lord, just let the Playboy bunny bus break down outside my house. I'll go out and change any tire, any spare tire. I'll do it, Lord. Please.
And we got Playboy that watches us too, so.
We got a Playboy that watches us. Who?
We got a few.
Oh, hello. What?
And they find you absolutely repulsive. No, I'm just kidding.
That's terrible, isn't it? That's
Just-
what was that? Just no hairy nuns.
Then he's out.
Remember, what are you going on about, Pete? You going on about hairy nuns?
Why do I get a feeling that's another Mike story?
Oh, I like the one that your dad told us about the Exorcist ring. Everyone that's watching this, please go and look up Mike the Naked Bigfoot's channel and watch the one where they go the Exorcist ring. He did a favour for a priest that night. A wee dancing about the graveyard, you know. You would date for an Exorcist ring, wouldn't you?
I didn't have to.
But you didn't. His is more obviously powerful than yours. You get what I mean? His is more special.
No, mine was given to me.
Right, all right. And
By a
somebody
priest.
says to you, "I'll give you an artifact from a UFO," right? But first, you have to dance naked around the graveyard for this priest in the corner. Would you do it?
I would want to see the damn artifact first.
I would say it was a big,
Too
shiny,
many wankers
thing.
like you out there who think me dumb, who think they know everything about me.
Yeah, but there's something the next big. I've got that ring. I'll tell you something. The stuff that your dad had in that cabinet. Oh my God. The stuff that he's got in there. I had weird dreams after seeing. I'll tell you. Remember the video he did where he found the clay face, and I had weird dreams after that, and I dreamt about that mask, and it was like I dreamt I was in the jungle, and it was like the drums were playing. I shit you not. See, for like 4 days, I tell Mike this, and I had this weird dreams, and they were chasing me with that mask on. And when I witnessed it, honestly, Pete, I hope you've got all that stuff locked away in a special place. There's Dakota. He wants to come and see it. Yeah. You know. But I think going back to disclosure stuff and going back to that in Las Vegas, right? There's a lot of reports out there that the aliens were inside the cab of that tractor. It was a loader of some kind. That's what it was. I don't think they were inside the cab. I think they were at the back of it. And even at then, I don't think they were aliens. I think they were man-made, cyborgy things to make them think there was an alien invasion or something. Honestly, that's what I think it was.
Honestly, you gotta be careful because I've seen a lot of fakeries,
yeah.
fake videos circulating around, and just the number of people that are, once again, fucking believing everything they see online.
Why is it? And this is the thing, in its own YouTube, you'll get somebody that'll take CGI, make a spaceship, right? And there'll be like 10,000 folk will believe that it's real, right? You can clearly see it's made really badly. But then somebody will get a video of like a UFO that's actually been captured and folk will say it's fake. I just don't get that. I just don't really get it.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I will say this, there's something going on. There is something going on right now in the world. And there's a lot of, I do think that the governments of the world are trying to turn people's eyes to like maybe Russia or turn people's eyes to other things.
You know,
because there's a lot of stuff happening.
You know, there's this one particular influencer I've seen on TikTok. Been trying to find a way to get her on, but haven't had any luck. Now, even Dr. Greer is aware of this incident. She was streaming the press conference through her TikTok, right?
Right.
Right as they got to that Marine with the Masonic pins on his suit, TikTok shut it down for misinformation. So almost quite a few thousand people were watching it through TikTok, and they shut it down. And to which she also makes kind of a valid point, and kind of have to wonder ourselves when you really think about it. What the hell else is going on that revealing aliens is the lesser of two evils? You know what I
I
know what I mean?
truly think, I truly think that the world is about to change for the worse. I think there's going to be a few years more than that. It's just darkness on this planet.
It's
I
gonna
think
get
we're in.
chaotic.
I think we're heading into war. I'm going to say that right now. I think we're already at war with Russia and that because we're sending them stuff. Would you go it to Europe and stuff? But I think it's going to go down with like Taiwan and honestly, there's a lot of videos out there, and this is I'm going to say this. There's a lot of videos out there that people saying, "Oh, there's U.S. military moving through cities in America," right? And then there was one. There's one the new on TikTok, and it's all the ospreys flying together, right?
Mhm.
That was an air show. That was an air show, right? I researched it.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was no training. It was an air show.
Yeah, no, I've had a couple of
Yeah.
people try to. No, we've actually just had an air show here not too long ago, and there's been people trying to say, Dakota, they're training near you. It's like, it's an air show.
Yeah.
It's usually not all that exciting, to be completely honest.
I'm also going to say this. They're going on about how there's armored vehicles getting shipped across America. If you look at some of the armored vehicles, you can tell that they're old armored vehicles and they've got the old camo for the desert.
Mhm.
And what usually happens is they ship them off to a yard to get refitted and repainted, right? But I will say this: there is something about to go down. There is something biblical that's got to go down. I think it's got to change the world forever.
You know, the reason why I named this episode "What May Come," because a lot like what we did with Bret last night.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be a question when we close out some of the interviews centered around UFOs, because I did send a message out, hopefully to get Robert Kennedy on to talk about some of his stuff he's been getting targeted for.
Yeah.
God, that'd be an amazing fucking conversation.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do feel that the world. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. Here's a prediction. I bet you the banks crash. Yeah. I bet you in the next couple of years there's no such thing anymore as paper money. And I'm also going to say this, and I've seen reports say I didn't believe it, but I know people that have seen reports of this. I'm not going to mention it. You know, the jibby jabby thing that you get in your arm. Have you seen that they've been doing it to fruit and vegetables?
Yeah, you've been bringing it up on the last couple of shows we had airtime.
Yeah, and honestly, if you live out there and you are watching this, see when you go to buy your produce and stuff, please go to your local farmers market and buy your stuff. That's what I do.
If they wanted to be a lot more effective about distribution, they would easily just insert it into high fructose corn syrup, because what doesn't have that nowadays?
Exactly. But I think we're entering a state now that even our food isn't right. Our food doesn't even taste the same anymore. I mean, I went to a supermarket the other day and I got some corn, Ken corns in the cob.
Mm-hmm.
And they tasted like cardboard. I'm serious, they tasted like cardboard. Then I went to the local farmer's market and I got some for there. And they were totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of genetically modified stuff. So if you are watching this, guys, you are listening to this, guys, support your local farmers. Support your local farmers and buy their stuff. It might be a wee bit more expensive, but I'll tell you something new, it's going to be a lot better for you.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And honestly, guys, be ready, because I do think something's coming. I don't know if it's going to be an alien invasion. I don't know if it's going to be World War III, but I think it's going to be a bit of both.
I don't know. And I've been seeing a lot of people freaking out over Blue Beam. It's like first off, the good guys have, we'll see that, because that tech's already been utilized. I mean, have you seen the videos going around of Dubai with all the floating
The
whales.
whales. Yeah, I seen that. I found
mean,
that spectacular. That's actually
that-
spectacular.
Yeah, but if you actually pay attention, this could easily be something overlooked by the number of people who are having.
Is that
Dakota
just
just as you mentioned, TikTok shutting down the girls' video, your podcast stopped on my phone just like that. What hell?
yeah? It just shows you AI. Good to love it sometimes.
Which would be interesting to see what happens because next week, especially, I'm just saying with the whales, if you look carefully, you can tell they're computer generated. The graphics aren't that good, but I will be interested to see what happens next week. We are going to be doing the Neil Story interview pre-recorded, just accommodate his schedule a bit. So we'll be dropping that one on Sunday, but that Saturday before, we actually have someone coming on who was on the panel for the 2001 conference, Dr. Greer held, Dan Willis.
No.
And I know we mentioned Elena a lot. My mother thinks I have a crush on her. I've done it so much. Hey! Hey, what? She's a beautiful, intelligent woman, and I'm honored to call her my friend. That's
call it puppy
This motherfucker, on the other hand.
Really? Did your mother actually think that? I'm going to message your mum after.
She's actually said that to me to my face.
Well, if you look, I think the two of you make a great couple.
No, I'm married,
a
man.
young
You're
man,
gonna,
young strapping man.
Motherfucker, you're gonna get me in trouble with my wife.
It's okay.
But anyway,
Fine.
Saturday we had Dan Willis coming on to talk about a lot of his research, everything that's going on. And, obviously, Elena's probably going to be coming up in that conversation because he does keep track of a lot of her testimonies and backs up the fact that if anyone's worth listening to, it's her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which should say something considering some of the individuals Dr. Greer had on his press conference actively try to talk shit about her.
I know. I'm very disgusted about that.
I know. I was going to try to reach out to some of them. It's like, first off, I understand. I can level if you have disagreements, but the level of fucking shit. See, yes, Dakota has morals, despite what some people try to say.
I'm going to say this. Elena does amazing work, right? Absolutely amazing work. And there's people out there that are jealous. I want to say a bad word, but I'm not going to. Are very jealous. They're very, very jealous. I'm being proper here. And I think they're just jealous, to be honest with you. And that guy that you're talking about, is it the guy in the blue jumpsuit? It looks like you can the guy I'm talking about on the very end with the badges. Aye, right. The guy for the cold place. Aye, right.
Yeah, the Antarctica guy. Yeah, that was him.
Antarctica, that's him. And I believe Elena more than I believe him. Right? What?
Anybody else just see that white flash of light that was right behind me?
No. Is it your wife coming to give you a slap in the face because you were talking about Elena?
Hey, she likes Elena, first off.
I wish I don't know. Slap him in the side of the ear.
I know. Wouldn't that be funny?
Wouldn't that be funny something up when I put my hand towards it, you can drag something up, you put a string down below and a big hand comes out.
I don't know. Just have it to where, like, I go to offer you a drink, hand it you across the screen, and you just grab it,
Yeah. I will say this to you about TikTok. I don't think TikTok's got long left before it's going.
Yeah.
Because it's got to get shut down.
They're going to try to.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, it's fully like absolute utter pish. That's my Scottish coming out for you. It's coming out in absolute utter. I don't think I've ever seen anything. There's maybe a couple of things on it, but the amount of like violence that's on it, the amount of like sexual content that's on it, and I just don't know what's happening with this.
Says the guy who left the comment about my penis size on one of our TikTok
videos. I couldn't help it, guys. Why don't you tell everybody before we end the live about what the comment was and what I put?
He was saying that he needed one that would be in centimeters because it would be a lot more accurate for him.
What? Just remember, Elena, very small.
I don't think he listened to a damn word I just said.
What did you just say?
I said that you said you were needing one in centimeters, so it would be more accurate for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you're friends with Anakin. See? But we can't all blame him, you know. You can't all be that bad, you know. But honestly, when you go to that Orlando thing, you need to do the time warp again.
Dude.
Let's do the time warp again. You get all the moves, don't you? You have to jump.
I'm already going to be pushing for time just flying out there.
Oh, but yeah, there's a disco at night. You've got all the old women, loads of the old women that you've been chatting up. You know? They'll all be waiting on you.
See, ladies, see how he talks about you.
I never said
y'all want to call me. Y'all trying to call me the asshole? You call me the asshole? Some of the shit he says, at least I'm up front about my remarks. The shit he talks about by people behind their back.
Do you know what he says? Do you know what he says to me? All the older women will be waiting on me. Mm-hmm.
No, I just
don't you worry, ladies. I respect you. I respect you. And this man needs to teach the lesson in Orlando. Really does. I think you should all grab him at once.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
You know you're just admitting something there. That's funny saying that.
Yeah, no. I'll say with all due respect, I will say
he's getting off your face now, isn't he? He's thinking about...
Yeah, blood pressure does that well when you deal with someone like this.
Aye, he's going out with the lassies and the healings there, aye. Don't you worry, we'll find a hairy one for you.
No.
Maybe Pete in the chat will be able to find you a Bigfoot or something like that. Actually, you never really see a female Bigfoot, do you? I've never
you do.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, male.
And you would love it like your National Geographic, stash. Just fucking get a Cinemax or something.
What's that? What?
Wow, we should probably end this show before we really go off the rails.
No, what's he going on about? What is it? Oh, what? You broke up for me. They said you should really get it up. Yeah, that's what you said.
No, you should get yourself a fucking Skinamax. Try to stop beating your rocks off at National Geographic.
Ladies and gentlemen, and ladies,
I have to say that because I'm in National Geographic.
He's in. I seen the somebody spotted the monster. I see there's a new picture out of the Loch Ness monster.
Oh, really? We're gonna have to do.
The monster, the big sinner. Aye, it came out in the murky water. Aye, it came out. It did. Honestly, just for mad. I'm mad.
We better end the show because we're going off the road. Drew, why do you always come in last minute?
Goodbye, everyone. I will see you all in the spaceship.
We'll see you later because we're already going way off track.
I'll be in the dance hall.
Thanks for tuning into the Bald and Bonkers Show. If you enjoyed the show and want to show your support, head over to our website at baldandbonkers.net. There, you'll find our merch, services, and more. Thanks for being part of the